The floating base Vsevolod-Sibirtsev is difficult to compare with anything that moves. For example, it is 2.5 times longer than the Airbus 380, the largest passenger aircraft in the world, and 7 meters longer than the submarine of the Project 941, the famous Shark, the largest nuclear submarine cruiser on the planet. This may seem implausible, but Vsevolod-Sibirtsev is only a couple of dozen meters shorter than the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg. Every detail of the floating base structure is well thought out. In the bow and the stern superstructures, there are the crew's living quarters. Moreover, cabins can be compared to cozy hotel rooms. In addition to the gym, there is a cinema, saunas, a swimming pool, and a hospital. On the first, second, and third decks, there is the working area, which is equipped with a real fish processing plant with conveyors for fish processing. And beneath it, there are 4 holds, each with 3 vertical rooms for the storage of finished products. The bridge is equipped with the most modern equipment, where all the parameters of the floating base are displayed, from speed to fuel reserves. The latest navigation equipment is also installed here. The most important man on Sibirtsev, as well as on any ship, is the captain. Only here, one more post is added to this one. It is the director, with the corresponding extension of the responsibilities. It is such a complicated process, pretty thorough, scrutinous, that's it. And here is the production manager, chief masters, and in the course of work, we have briefings, short meetings, because this is production. That's the difference between the captain-director and the captain. As a matter of fact, Valery Voloshin controls not only his own floating base. He, as an admiral in the Navy, must coordinate all the actions of the expedition members, captains of trawlers and carriers, and of course, report to the authorities on the ground. According to the project, Vsevolod-Sibirtsev has a high autonomy of navigation, 80 days, but in fact, it can be at sea for much longer. We may not take fuel for 3 to 4 months, you know? Well, just the same. We have food for half a year. There is enough, well, in the storerooms. Vsevolod-Sibirtsev's fate has been hard. A couple of years ago, the owner nearly scrapped it. It seemed that even renovation at Chinese shipyards and significant investments in modernization could not ensure the normal functioning of such a ship in the 21st century. And weren't afraid to return the huge floating base. Vsevolod-Sibirtsev was built a quarter of a century ago in Finland, specifically for Far Eastern fishermen. The factory ship became one of the 3 vessels of this type. The Finnish shipbuilders used the most modern equipment of the time. They tried to make the ship as convenient and practical as possible. Special attention was paid to security. It's built in such a way that, for example, if any 2 adjacent compartments are flooded, it remains afloat. That's it. Well, you can imagine, yeah, what it is. In other words, it is quite safe in that respect, and there are usually no fears. The factory ship was recognized many times as the best in the Far East. Then the big country was gone. Hard times came. A few years later, on the ground of unprofitability, Vsevolod-Sibirtsev was sold for a song to Greece, nominally, but in fact to China. In China, they wanted to make a fishing hotel out of the floating base. But then the Chinese scrapped the project. Its new owner, a fishing company Dobro Float, began to prepare the vessel for its return home. We started modernizing the plant. In other words, the plant was rebuilt. Since there weren't any conveyors, any freezers, there was nothing. We had to repair everything. The equipment was repaired in the engine room and on the working decks. In the plant, department's processing lines were restored and conveyors were fixed, and Vsevolod Sibirtsev again resumed its duties. While Vsevolod Sibirtsev is operating in the so-called Area 51 of the Sea of Okhotsk, Garmonia, one of those reefer ships which run between the floating base and the coast, is being loaded in the port of Nakhotka. Soon it will go to sea to deliver provisions to Vsevolod Sibirtsev and pick up the finished products, frozen fish and canned food. The floating base is 1,300 miles or a few days' journey away.